Welcome back to Edgemont Elegance, everybody. It has been a minute since we've been able to go inside of this home because when we were here last week, we were insulating. So we are going to do a thorough walkthrough of what's going on outside of this house today and show you some of the details that we put into our homes when we are insulating them. Sprucehill homes are always going to be tighter and more energy efficient than the vast majority of our competitors. Why? Because we care and we think about the details. Let's dig in and take a look. We have got a lot of the siding done on this side of the house. Obviously, we still have some work to do over here. Some of you might be watching and be looking and seeing that there's this big gap between the window and the trim. Well, that's done on purpose, and that's going to allow us to put a little bit of backer rod behind there and then fill that with sealant so that we get a watertight seal between the window trim and the window. Slope skirt piece here so that we're always shedding water away from the house. And again, I think we talked about it last week. We dado the underside of these trim pieces so water can't stick to the bottom of this material and work its way back to the back of the house. Back here, not a ton has changed. Got more siding done. We've got siding along the top of the house. The team is now working on getting the lap siding on the main floor of the house. We've got another sider doing the garage, so I can hear them working behind on the detached garage over here. The siding is just in progress. It's been a week and a half since I started, and I mean, they're making tons of headway. Let's go have a look at this detached garage though. So in here, we have got R24 insulation on the exterior walls, and we've got half-pound spray foam on the roof above. Now, for those of you in YouTube land, you might be like, why in the heck have you done spray foam insulation in a detached garage? Nobody's living in here. Well, you're not wrong, but here's the thing. If you do an insulated or unconditioned attic in any roof in this day and age, you run the risk of having a night sky cooling effect happen, which is where during the winter season when we have frost on the ground, you can actually have frost form on the underside of your plywood in your attic, right? So in order to make sure that we don't have to deal with night sky cooling, we put spray foam insulation to the underside of all of our roofs. It's just a detail we do. And we use half-pound insulation because it is porous. It will allow water to seep through. It's fairly airtight, but it will still allow water to come through in the event of a leak. So we like half-pound insulation for that particular application. So that's the color the spray foam is when it goes in. And this blue paint is a vapor barrier paint. Half-pound insulation is not vapor tight. It's airtight, but it's not vapor tight. So we have to apply a vapor barrier paint to the spray foam, and that makes it vapor tight. So now we are good to go from an air tightness and from a vapor tightness perspective. This avoids us using poly because here at Sprucehill, we think poly is the enemy. So one of the things that we were just on site with a client earlier today, and so what's gonna be happening here, this is roughly where the paving stones are gonna be in the driveway, right? Like you can imagine that this lumber is gonna get removed and our paving stones are going to abut flush to this garage slab. We're gonna have that come along here, and go out there, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that our paving stones are gonna be down here and the neighboring yard is higher. This is gonna get split face granite. We're gonna get some more of that split face granite, and we're gonna do a retaining wall back here, and we're gonna go down the driveway with it with a split face granite retaining wall, and behind that will be a cedar hedge. So this looks like a hot mess right now, but you wait and see what this looks like in 4 months' time, and it will be amazing. One of the things that drives me crazy is when you can see the garage slab on the outside of the garage. So what we do is we form this so that the garage slab ends inside of the garage or at a minimum flush with the concrete. By having this slightly inside here, right? Like a lot of times you'll see people and they'll put a form on the outside of the foundation here, which is back here. And what happens is this concrete, when the garage door is closed, is exposed. Now, when the garage door is closed, all you're gonna see is paving stones and it just doesn't look dumb. All right, so let's go inside and check things out. It's a lot quieter. It just like, as soon as you start adding insulation, it really helps muffle the sound. So we have got the entire house insulated. Now, what we don't have done, Kyle, is we have not got all of the soundproofing in all of the walls. There was some debating back and forth between our project manager and the client as to whether or not it made sense to soundproof this wall or this wall here. Pretty much every home that we build, we make sure that we add soundproofing between bedrooms and common areas. We do that because who wants to get woken up by somebody going through the mudroom or somebody going to the bathroom on the other side of this wall when they have guests over, if somebody's having a nap in the afternoon or something. So we soundproof all of our interior walls that are on bedroom, like against bedrooms or powder rooms. The other thing that we do is we insulate all of our floor assemblies. Or I shouldn't say insulate, but it's soundproofing, but it's still insulation. So, you know, whatever words you want to use, we add Roxol Safe and Sound to all of our ceilings or floors, I guess, so that we have maximum soundproofing. So already right now, you can hear the sound of people walking upstairs, and it's very difficult to get rid of the sound of footfall. But like just general talking or whatever else, like you are not going to hear whatever somebody is saying above you down here because of this soundproofing. It's a really, really, really smart thing to do. Does it cost more money? Yes. Are you going to regret spending that money once you've lived there for a few months? Absolutely not. Spend the money, soundproof. Trust me. Another something that I noticed when I was walking through today was that this is spray foamed. And then the rest of this has got bad insulation. So I was like, well, what the heck is going on with that? The reason this has got spray foam and this doesn't is because we have cold water pipe in the wall here. So the spray foam is going to prevent this water pipe from freezing, right? The water pipe's been cheated to the inside of the wall here. And so we want to make sure that this pipe doesn't ever freeze. Very important. So that's why this is spray foam and the rest is going to be bad insulation. We've got our rod and caulking installed now. So we want to see our windows get sealed behind, right? So we've got our building wrap coming in against this stud here or cripple. And so, yes, can you see some gappage here? Yes, but that's okay because this sealant is attached to the building wrap that's coming around. So the air tightness is getting done through this building wrap that we've installed, and it folds into the inside of the window. You know, sometimes you get these people that are like, oh, we need to put caulking on the backside of flanges, or we need to caulk on the outside of our window or whatever else. Listen, when you get in your car, do you roll down the window and run a bead of caulking around the door so that you can start driving in the rain? No, the way that your car door has been designed is there's a big rubber gasket around the inside of it. And when you close your door, the rubber gasket makes that seal, right? The water still gets between the actual metal part of the door and the rest of the car, right? You've got a gap there. We all have them in all our cars. But that rubber sealant below eliminates that, or eliminates the possibility of water being able to get in. So use the same science for your windows and doors. Get your sealant on the inside, and that way if there's ever any leak or whatever else, it stops here, and that makes more sense. This is the formal living room, and what a great living room this is. Again, we've got spray foam insulation, 2-pound insulation along the perimeter there to get us our air tightness on the walls, and then we've got 1/2 pound with that blue vapor barrier paint on top of it above. Okay, so here we have a little bit of core line, 1.5 inch core line, and this is going to allow our client in the future to run his TV, HDMI cables, and whatever else he wants from the cabinet that's going to be going here, and power and or whatever is in this cabinet here to the TV. Now, what's really cool about what this client has designed is he's actually made it so that the cabinets are accessible on both sides. So it's actually a really, really smart idea. So the devices will live more on this area here, but he'll be able to access it from behind. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, as you know, you've got your controls on the front of your amplifiers and that sort of thing, but all of the stuff that you plug into the back of it is at the back of it. So if you have access from the backside, you don't have to like somehow like miracle your amplifier or other equipment out of the cabinet, plug things in, and then very carefully slide it back in again. Now you just have access from both sides and it just makes life easier. So I think it's really cool. I've never seen anybody do it before. I think it's a really neat design feature, and I look forward to talking more about that in the future. One thing I absolutely want to point out and address, the condition of the inside of this house right now is not even remotely close to where it needs to be. We have people on site that are actively working to get this tidied up today because it is such a mess, but we haven't really had access to the house for the last 3 or 4 days because the insulators were in here and you can't work around the spray foam. We are downstairs in the basement. We're just making some last minute modifications to the pot light layout. And what we've got here is we've got a laser lined up here and we've got another one lined up down there. There's marks on the ground to let us know where we want it to be. And that obviously translates up to the ceiling. So now the electrician can see exactly where to place the center of the pot light. And now when we come in here later, we can see that these suckers are going to be string line straight. Now, you could set up a string line and do the same thing, but this is just a lot faster to just grab a laser, put a couple marks on the ground and just line them up and off you go, right? Otherwise you're up here with string going back and forth. It's just faster and it's just easier to work around too. We have drywall being delivered today. And right now we've got on the ceiling above us, this metal stuff. And so if you're not familiar with it, it's called resilient channel. And you know, in the industry, we call it res bar. And so how it works is you screw the res bar through this flange here, that flange here, into, let's do it so it's oriented the same. So you can see all of the screws are into this flange here. Now, what happens is the drywall gets screwed into this face of the res bar. And so what that does is it decouples the bottom of the drywall from the joist itself. Why do you care about that? Well, if you don't install resilient channel, and I've talked about this a bunch on this channel, and I'll continue to talk about it every time we do a drywall job. If you don't install resilient channel on your ceilings, A, they're not going to be as flat as they could be. This resilient channel allows the drywall to hang down. It's a little bit flexible, so the drywall, right, it's got some flex to it. So the drywall will hang flatter, right? Number one. Number two, Kyle, if you don't have resilient channel, your floor joist acts like a drum, right? So then you've got your floor above and you've got your drywall below. And so sound can now just transfer between the two areas very, very easily. Whereas if we put this res bar up, then we decouple it and now you don't get that sound transference. So the Sprucehill standard, Roxel Safe and Sound, resilient channel, and you will not hear a word spoken between floors, even at a pretty high volume. Will you still potentially hear like really, really deep bass? You'll still hear, and the sound of footfall. It is real. It's almost impossible to get rid of the sound of people walking, especially if you have kids or a spouse that has thunder feet. My son in particular, like, you know when he's coming, because but you know, it is what it is. You can't really get rid of that, but you can get rid of the sound of people talking, music, things like that. Like I said, deep bass, no, footfall, no, but pretty much everything else, yes. And this solution is amazing. It's gonna be so quiet down here, and we're gonna have flat ceilings. The other thing that doing the resilient channel does is a lot of times you've got joist hangers and beam hangers that are thick and are sticking down or whatever. This helps you get over top of joist hangers and beam hangers and that sort of thing, which really, again, helps to keep the ceiling and make the ceiling flat. So coming through here, we've got our 2-pound insulation throughout the exterior walls here. So this is gonna be nice and warm. 2-pound insulation underneath the slab here, and that comes up. And now we've attached basically this 2-pound insulation in the walls to the 2-pound insulation that came up from the floors. So we have continuous 2-pound insulation. So that's going to give us air tightness. We're not going to have that dank basement smell. And it is going to be insanely energy efficient in here. Insanely energy efficient. And yeah, so in here, we're now in the basement suite. Again, we work with proper ceilings and walls. If you want to have awesome drywall at your home or on your project, call James at Proper Ceilings and Walls. and we'll make sure to tag him in this video because James is pretty popular on the Instagram. So James, thank you for all the hard work you and your team do for Sprucehill, and shout out for doing a good job because you guys do great work and we love working with you. Well, that's a wrap on our walkthrough from today, guys. Listen, thank you so much for watching. If you have a custom home that you would like to have built and learn more about what Sprucehill can do for you, reach us at the office through our website or through calling us. We would love to hear from you, learn more about how we can serve you and create something incredible. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe, make me internet famous, and stay awesome. Thanks for watching. Bye now.